So, Firooza, one of the questions that I've always wanted to ask you, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, is that many of us who love you and love your teachings would wonder how you came to be so immersed in Iyengar yoga and kind of where it started. If you don't mind, just a sort of a little bit of a
You're
story of the history.
taking me down memory lane.
Yes.
Well, you can call me Destiny's child there. I had no intention or no knowledge of the subject of yoga, and I was young. And it just happened by chance that a group of friends, found a class close to home where, they decided that we are at loose end, so we start learning some yoga. I didn't know what yoga was actually. And then I'm a bit of a lazy person. So it didn't
I
really
don't
interest
believe
me.
that.
You have to. So I didn't join actually, they did. And I would sit at home and say, oh, you go ahead, that's not for me. And they would come back telling stories about what they did. And I realized it's a whole lot of exercises that you do and stretches that you do. And I would try it out at home and say, well, it's not that. I mean, I can do it. It's nice, but I don't need to go to a class for that, do I? So you go ahead. And then they would talk about how they relaxed on the floor at the end, which was unknown to me those days, lying on the floor and closing your eyes and doing nothing. So that was also very interesting. So one day I decided that I'll accompany them to watch the class. So that's how I landed up with Father Joe Pereira, who was my first teacher. And I sat through the class, I watched all the moves. And at the end of the class, there was this Shavasana where he asked everybody to lie down and close your eyes. And it was evening and the lights were dimmed. And my first teacher, Father Joe, has a very nice voice. You know, he's a vocalist, he has a singing voice, and he's very expressive. So the Shavasana interested me a lot. And I was wishing I would be there on the floor, participating and hearing that, now relax your body and, close your eyes and watch your breath. That got me going. And I said, at the end of the class, I went up to him and said, can I join? So that's why I joined.
Wow, that's such an amazing
because
story.
because of the Shavasana.
Wow. And that was in Mumbai. Were you in
Mumbai.
Mumbai? Yes.
Yes, I
Okay.
was just about 19 years old. It
Oh,
was like way, way, way back, young girl.
a
And
nice day, a nice age to start. It's a good age
yes,
to
it
start.
was.
Yeah.
It was. And
Yeah.
then, of course, I started enjoying everything about the class, not only the Shavasana. So I just went on, and I think, I don't think I missed a single class if I could help it because I liked it so much. And unknown to me, a lot of changes were happening in me in terms of my personality, which was very introverted, very quiet. I tend to be quiet even now, but I was very shy and lacking in confidence along with being quiet. So that started changing. And I liked the change that took place in me. So I just continued very diligently. And somewhere, I think about a couple of years down the line, he asked me if I would teach in a school. So I was set off to teach yoga to children in a school. Again,
Wow.
not out of my choice, but out of duty and out of obedience to my teacher. I said, I'll do it. I was terrified. I'd never taught anything in my life till then. And I kind of had to do a lot of mental prepping to say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And there I
Wow.
was.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I had a trial class because people there wouldn't believe that, I looked small, young. I was quite quiet and soft, and they wouldn't believe that I could control, especially it was a co-educational school and there were a lot of boys. And
Oh,
that school was quite liberal. So the discipline was not very harsh. So the kids were a little free. And the principal and the trustees didn't believe I could handle them. So I had a trial class. And all I did is, I said, now this is like, test through fire. What shall I do? So I did what I thought was most difficult then for me. I just threw myself up on the wall in a handstand.
oh,
And,
tell me about it.
and, and I asked the children, can you do this? And so
And they
they
loved
all
it.
started, all
Yeah.
started jumping around, and that's how I got their attention. And then we went on from there, the rest of the class. Of course, they loved it. So when they trooped out of the class, the seniors standing outside looked at their faces and said, "Oh, I think they loved your class. We can have you." And that's how I
Oh
got my first
wow,
job.
Firooza. That was
First
your
job.
first job.
Yes,
Were you a student at the time, or were
I
you?
was. Yeah,
Yes.
I was studying at the same time. So this was like a part-time thing, going to the school and teaching a few hours in the morning. And that's how I started off. So that was my journey. And of course, because I was teaching, I was more serious about my own practices, because simply because I didn't want to lose face. I wanted to be at least better than the children. So I had to improve my postures and practice, and I wanted their respect, obviously. So I worked at that, and that's how it went on. And more than anything else, I think I was very touched or felt very responsible for the responsibility my teacher placed on me and the
Yes.
trust he placed on me, because that was not well, I wouldn't say that I was a student leader when I was in school. It wasn't that I had never taken responsibilities, but I would rarely go out myself to take that. If something is given to me, I would take it. So this was
Yes.
one more thing which was given to me, and I felt very responsible for it, and I wanted to do my best, and that's what I did. So I continued to teach for some time there. Meanwhile, Father Joe had a scooter accident. You know, a scooter, right? You have those two
Yes.
wheelers back home
Yes.
also. So he was unable to teach for a while, and he had broken a ligament in his knee, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe a fracture in his leg. So he was hospitalized, and he wanted his classes to be taught. And again, he called upon me and said, "In my absence, you go and teach my class." So
Oh my
that meant
goodness.
standing in front of my own colleagues and then teaching. And I was
Wow.
still only like, about maybe 21 or so,
So, destiny indeed,
so
hey? Oh,
21, 22. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So again, I was very hesitant, and then he gave me the confidence and say, "I know you can do it. So go ahead. I'll write you a sequence, and you can
Hmm.
teach." Then looking at my face, he said, "You haven't joined Guruji's class, have you?" I said, "No." And he said, "Why don't you join his class?" I said, "What? Me? Who? Where?" So I knew he had a teacher called B.K.S. Iyengar, but that's about all. I didn't own a
Oh,
light on yoga. I didn't even
oh,
have a book.
see. Okay.
Or
Amazing.
maybe I did have the book, because if I was practicing, I should be having a book, probably. I'm not sure. So I did have the book, but I haven't, I mean, I just thought it's one more author, you know. So I said, "You
Yeah.
mean actually learning from the person?" And he said, "Yes." And he, from his hospital bed, he wrote me a little note and said, "Take this to Guruji, go on Saturday, and he'll let you join this class." So there I land up in front of B.K.S. Iyengar with a little note in my hand saying my teacher sent me. And so he read it and he said, "I see. Okay." And that's it. I was in the class.
Oh my goodness. So that was when he would go to, was it Bombay or
Mumbai.
Mumbai? Every
Those
Saturday, didn't
days,
he? To teach.
Bombay every Saturday and Sunday. Yes. So it was a
Oh,
Saturday class which I joined. Saturday
yes.
afternoon, I remember, at the Holy Name Church school, where the hall used to be rented to conduct his sessions. So that's where I first joined Guruji. So it was
And
all,
then,
I think I was destined, Michelle. There's nothing of my
yes.
choice there.
Well, you took it up. You said yourself you gave it your best. So, I think
Yeah, probably
um,
that was my
BK,
inherent nature. And
yes,
also, we've been, at least I feel that there's a lot of respect and reverence for teachers. And if my teacher sets me a responsibility, then I should give it my best. That's
yes.
always been the case till today also. Not that I was a very good student in school, and not that I listened to all my teachers then, and not that I didn't kind of make fun of
Question.
them, but that was different. And never till then had I met teachers of this caliber. Father
Okay.
Joe, he is still also a teacher of a very supreme caliber. And if it wasn't for his inspiration, I probably wouldn't have continued or wouldn't have even started in the first place. And after that meeting, B.K.S. Iyengar, it was like, meeting the lion. You always seen a lion behind bars, not in front of you, who can roar and stare you in the eye from under his bushy eyebrows and Well, you just have to do it. That's it.
He
So
was
it was
right
the
there.
personality, right
Yes,
there.
yes.
It is his personality. That's what's so magnetic. You just couldn't, So there was this mixed feeling of awe, maybe mixed with fear for me, and at the same time, reverence and respect, and somewhere a lot of affection, all mixed in one. And it's not that somebody had to put it on me, or I did it because I saw others doing it. It just came naturally to me. I must tell you actually that wasn't the case in the first few months when I joined in, because when I joined Guruji's class, it was very clear for me in my mind that I'm doing this because my teacher is unable, so I'm stepping in as a substitute, and as long as he's unable to teach his class, this is my job to do. And to help me do it, he has sent me to his teacher from whom I will learn and go back and teach. So, in fact, when I don't know how many months that was, I don't remember, but after a few months, when Father Joe got back, I very promptly stopped going to the Saturday class because I
Oh,
thought that's over for me.
oh.
And
It was only just beginning. Oh my word,
yeah, well,
that's
I said
amazing.
I have my teacher to go back to. And after a couple of weeks down the line or a month, Father Joe comes up to me and says, I didn't see you on Saturday. I said,
Oh,
no, I don't attend. He says, why? I said, well, you're back. So I thought, you sent me when you were away. No, no, no. Just go back and join next Saturday. Okay. And then I land up again. And the bad part is that I did not inform Guruji that I was leaving. I just
oh,
kind of assumed that there would be a dialogue between my teacher and his teacher, and it'll be all sorted out. Because as I told you, I wasn't the kind who would go up and speak to Guruji, or I wasn't
no.
bold or outspoken. So I just kind of assumed that that was okay to do. So I land back again in the class, and then that was, in fact, till then he also kind of let me be on the fringes, and I was just one of them in the class. But when I went back, he looked me up and down, and then he said, you left. I said,
With those eyebrows.
yes. I said, yes, but may I join again? He says, only if you're going to be very regular. I said, yes, I promise that I'll be regular. And then, Michelle, I think this story is well known because I tell this to everyone. But he started, so that was one class of mine which I'll never ever forget, because he started the class. Those days there were no invocations, okay? No invocations, no
No
sitting quietly,
invocations.
no invocation. Guruji used to just to walk into the room and said, come on everybody now, all of you handstand. So handstand was the beginning of the class, which is why you might remember I said I did that with the children, because
Yes.
according to me, you can't, then I believed that I couldn't start a class unless I could do a handstand, because that's the
Thank you
beginning
for
of.
that because I'm going to take that from you. Wow, that's interesting.
So
So,
that was the beginning of the class according to my naive mind then. So that's why I tried to master it. I couldn't do it till that such time as I started teaching the students, and I had to learn it. So I kind of practiced very hard at it. So that's what he would do normally. So that day he started the class with Viparita Chakrasana. You know what that is, right? You
yes.
go into Urdhva Dhanurasana and you jump back. It's a back flip.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing we did in the class.
And how did you do it?
And exactly. So, so there was a small platform, probably a foot and a half, maybe not more, 12 to 18 inches high, like you have in a classroom where the
Yeah.
teacher stands up and then writes on the blackboard. So that small platform where I think, it must be about 6 by 6 square thing, or maybe a
Yes.
little larger than that. And then he said, all of you do it from there. So I very timidly retreated to the back of the class and wanted to see what others did and they would start with. And unknown to me, somebody was behind, and I got a little kick in my butt saying, I said go there and do it.
So what did
So,
you manage?
so I remember two very senior teachers, lovely people who are no more today, Mr. Barjot Tarapurwala and Sam Motiwala. They were the trustees of the then Light on Yoga Research Trust. And they came up to me, stood on either side and say, don't worry, just do it. So I went onto the platform, went in Urdhva Dhanurasana, and I jumped. And well, I could do it, but they were there to help me in case I failed. So they supported me. They were like my parents, you know, they were very senior, and they gave me the confidence. Don't worry, they are there, just do it. So that's
amazing.
where it started. Yeah. So that's what we were like. This family in Mumbai, they adopted me so beautifully. They supported me. So I just felt, you know, as far
Embrace.
after that, yes, embraced. After that, I never ever left, you know. But that one class I will remember. Well, that was the beginning of the class, Michelle. We must have done at least anywhere from 7 to 10 of those Viparit chakrasans from the platform. I turns, all of us. Those days classes were not that huge. I think maybe 30, maximum 35 people. I think 25 to 35. And then we went on to, now I can't remember the exact sequence, but it was an entire, you know, backbending class, so to say. So there were backbend, there was Urdhva Dhanurasana from the floor, at the windowsill, standing upright, feet to the wall, palms to the wall, Viparita Dandasana, feet to the wall, palms to the wall, independent in the middle. And then there were windows and windowsills. So some more Viparita Chakrasana from the windowsills. I don't think there would be less than 50 backbends for sure, at least. And
Sure.
there must be other things which I don't remember. We must
But
have
you remember
unwound.
that?
All the
What
backbends
a
I remember.
start.
I
Yeah.
don't know what happened after that because I was just praying that I should last this class,
Yes.
the 2 hours, and that's all that I prayed for. I said I shouldn't collapse, and then I also was determined that, you know, I saw people giving up somewhere, and I said no, this time I can't give up because I know he's looking at me, I know he's testing me, and I know that I have to get through this. No, so no matter what, I said I'll do everything he says, and that's what I did. And
Wow. That's
and
that true willingness of the student, the willing teacher and the
yes,
willing student we hear about.
also I think that's when he accepted me as a student, you know. So that was my, I don't know what was in his mind. I never asked, and I still don't know, but I thought that was my test. I
Yes.
thought maybe others in the class felt the same, I don't know, but I thought that was my test and I had to prove myself there. And when I went back home, it was a walking distance. I walked back, and I definitely was very tired in my limbs. And, you know, like I said, oh, I don't know whether I can get up tomorrow because, you know, I mean, it was very strenuous. Then I was
Intense.
just a beginner, actually. It was just 2 years in my practice, which was according to me, that was a lot. But today I know that was nothing.
Nothing.
But I must tell you the experience I had mentally. Physically, I was tired, yes, but I felt like I was floating. There was something very ethereal about what I felt. There was something very happy. I was like, you know, floating on a cloud. I don't sing, but I had a song in my mind, and I kind of was in, like, you know, I floated from another world into another world, went home, and, you know, in a kind of a daze. Not that I was, you know, I was not there, I was all there, but it was, I'm saying this today because it must be so potent that like 40 plus years down the line, I still remember it. So it was very, very intense. And I never understood it then. But later I understand that was the transformation in the essence, in my centers in the body, the chakras, the elements, the balances that happened because of what he made us do, because of his own will he pushed into us, because of the instructions and the way he took us through the sequencing. And I must not forget to tell you, Michelle, that it wasn't that he made us do it. Everything that we did, he did. If
I
we
see.
did Viparita Chakrasana at the windowsill, he did it in the middle of the room. He did more than what we did. If we did 5, he did 10. He was
I
the
see.
inspiration. I
And
was the
it was,
young girl. He was 60 plus. And I'm
yeah.
saying, what is this?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
this is come from? Who is this? You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was my inspiration as a young girl. Absolutely. Yeah, that was
It's
so. There was no looking back, because I totally, like, admired this person. And not because of what he did, but because what he could do to me, because what he could transfer to me,
A
what he
guru.
could communicate to me. Yes,
Mm.
I had no idea of what a guru was those days,
Yes.
seriously. In
Yes.
fact, a lot of senior teachers even then used to call him Mr. Iyengar. The
Yes.
guru, the guru thing came later, you know.
Mm.
So the
Mm.
Guruji started coming maybe a little later, or it had just started probably. I told you, since I was not into the scene, I really didn't know what to call him or who he was or how big he was. Nothing, absolutely. But I knew that something was special about this person, and I looked forward to the next weekend and the next
Mm.
weekend. And it came to pass that even if it was raining cats and dogs, if it was flooded with water knee deep on the streets of Mumbai, I would still go. Whether I had to wade through it, walk through it, sail through it, I would attend every class. And believe me, Michelle, he also came. There was no one
You never
time
missed.
that we were not told that, oh, it's raining today, so class is cancelled. He came
Mm.
all the way from Pune to Mumbai. And then
Mm.
wherever he was in Mumbai, he was brought to class. Again, thanks to faithful, dutiful students who brought him, made sure he was there on time. So if he did it, how could I not? So there were
Exactly.
huge lessons for me to learn from, not just on the mat, off the mat, from the person he was, the discipline he had, what he taught, and his beautiful analogies and the philosophy that got woven into the teaching. You know? So
Which
for
is a
me,
bit of a
it's
trademark of yours as well. Yeah.
probably, for me, it started with physical exercises, so to say. I loved it, enjoyed it. There were challenges to me. But I must say that Father Joe himself being a priest, there was philosophy coming from there as well. And so, under because of his influence, I decided to study philosophy undergraduate, and that's how I selected as one of my subjects. Then
Oh,
I read
okay.
the light. Then I read the light on yoga and understood some more of that philosophy. And then, of course, I studied Indian philosophy and yoga philosophy as my undergrad studies. That made me understand yoga not just as an exercise, but much more than that. Whatever I read and studied from books, I linked it to whatever Guruji spoke, taught in the class. And then on those special occasions when we went to Pune, he would give those lectures on the annual day, on his birthday, later Guru Purnima functions, and he would tell us about the sutras and talk about them in depth. And I would be able to connect that to what I read in the books and try to piece it together and understand it. So I think studying philosophy as an undergraduate and later as a postgrad, studying philosophy helped me to understand what he said, which I think
Right.
a lot of other students couldn't connect with easily. That's what I
Yes.
think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it helped me connect better. Then I would go back and read some more. And so for me, yoga started first, the practical started first, the theory came later, and then they went hand on hand as I practiced further, learned further on the mat. I read more from the books, and that's how the two just wove together. And what I read in the book started to come alive and make more sense to me. You know, if you can think of pages coming alive, sutras coming alive and dancing in front of your eyes and saying, hey, this is what I mean. You know, this is how you should understand me. So that's what started happening. And then I thought I knew, and I knew more, and I perhaps had a little arrogance that I know better than others who haven't
Oh,
studied philosophy. And today I know how little I knew then. So it's been a journey, an always growing journey.
but what a
So
beautiful, I mean, gosh, Firooza, it's just like this perfect situation. Definitely your eagerness, though, and your discipline obviously, took you there as well. But it's just what a beautiful story. I mean, a
yes, I
privilege.
always feel that I must have done something good to
Mm.
get a guru like this. You know,
Mm.
when I didn't ask for a guru, I was not looking for a guru, but I was taken to one. So in that sense, the
Deep
guru
down, you
was
were
brought to me.
asking. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, deep down I was asking. No, I wasn't consciously asking, but I just
yes.
think I must have done something good to deserve this. Because I know that a lot of people who look for the right persons don't find them easily. And I know a lot of people who had the guru in front of them but didn't know the work of it.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
think for the subject of yoga, there has to be some samskaras.
Definitely.
Otherwise, it's there in front of you. You even if you want to do it, there are a lot of people who are unable to do it because it
Yeah.
just doesn't go with their temperament, or there are hindrances, all the
Something is.
the antarayas come in your way. Either you are lazy or you are sick, or things are not convenient. Something comes in your way. But
Mm.
if it's meant to be, then all the obstacles will just move out.
You
No
just
matter
flow.
how
Yeah.
yes, all the however strong the obstacles are, they will just make way for you. And
Mm.
so I think I was very fortunate. And not only that, so my first teacher, Father Joe, was my link to Guruji, and I was very fortunate to come in touch with him. I
Yes.
got in touch with him through my friends. Okay, as simply as one of my friends' brothers was studying in that school. He who got us the information that there's this priest in my school who's going to start a yoga class for free. That's what instigated all the friends to join. So those were my links. Unknowingly, all
Amazing.
of them have played a role in my coming in touch with Guruji. And then
Yes.
further on, from Guruji to Geeta ji to Prashant ji, to be able to learn with all of them have enhanced my learning, opened out windows for me, opened out doors for me. Knowingly, unknowingly, and most of the time, Michelle, unasked. So most of my life in yoga, I never really sought anything. I never had a goal to reach. I never wanted to achieve anything. Okay, but I did want to search a lot. So when I read a lot of books, I said, "What is this meditation? I wish I could meditate. People say meditate. What would it be like? How would it be like?" So I would want to search that. So there was always a question. There was always a search, but it wasn't like I want to be this or I want to become that. In fact, that
I
the last
understand.
of the things that I ever wanted to do. Yes, some of the things, for example, if there was a demonstration which we gave, I mean, again, my demonstration started with Guruji. He would be called for of course in class he would use us young people as his demonstrators, because he knew he could kind of spank us also, and he could make us stand till we fell down and our egos wouldn't be hurt and we would just laugh it off. So he taxed us, and which was great training for us, because it built up my stamina, my will,
Yes.
everything. So it
Mm.
started there. And then when he would be called for a lecture demonstration in Mumbai itself, there were a few occasions like that, the Rotary Club or somebody or the other, some program would be put up for him. Then he would ask a few young people, us. So, the others among us is Birju, Jawahar, Nita.
Yes.
No, we were just taken and said, okay, come along, you have to come and demonstrate with Guruji after class today. So we'd be ready for that.
Oh, there was
And
no
that's how
preparation.
absolutely zero.
Oh,
Absolutely zero. You don't know what Guruji is going to ask you. So
oh,
we would know we have to be prepared for everything. And I remember in those days, we wouldn't have lunch or anything all day because we were so worried that things would come
yes.
out. So we would literally starve ourselves and be ready for anything and everything. Knowing Guruji, he could do anything with you.
Anything.
So that's the preparation. That was the
Oh,
only preparation. You needed the mentally preparation with it. So that's how the demonstration started. So for that, I would practice on my own because I wouldn't want to let him down. So
hmm.
if he asked me to do, let's say, a kapotasana, I should be able to do it. So I
Hmm.
have to practice for that. So practice for flexibility, forwards, backwards, and the headstand should be held steady for a long time. That's what motivated me to practice. And then of course we gave some demonstrations on stage for his 70th birthday. So we worked, all of us amateurs, we worked very, very hard, and um, I would say that achieved more than what we could and did more than what we could. So all this was on our own. So the story of where gurus can be just in absence, in
Yes.
absentia, and you have the story of Eklavya. So like that, Guruji would be in our minds, but most of it was practiced on our own. He never taught us how to do a kapotasana or prepare for a vrishchikasana, or or
You had to
Gandhabir
find out.
Vinyasa.
Hmm.
Yeah, we
Had to
find
work it
out.
up. Yeah.
We worked it up, and one of the things that I would learn from was watching him. Well, Prashantji the other day was joking. He makes fun of us. He's saying, all you people used to come up when Guruji used to practice, everybody used to stare at him. And then everybody wanted to copy him and he'd do exactly what he did. But
Yes.
we didn't know what he did before that and what was
Ex-
his preparation and what he wanted to do. So everybody copied and so many of you injured yourself. Well,
Yes.
I was one of those who just watched him in awe and then tried to copy his moves. Luckily, I didn't really injure myself. I could thank youth for that, maybe. I was young. But that's the way we learned. So, watching him,
Amazing.
practicing on our own, remember his instructions, looking at the Light One Yoga, which was like the Bible for us then. And that's how it went on. So,
Amazing.
I had no other goals to achieve except to do well so that, my guru's name should not be spoiled. And if I'm on stage, I should just do my best. That kind of thing.
It's kind of a unique. It's quite a unique story, Firooza. It's
Yes, I never
beautiful.
thought it was, but as I say it again and again to people, I do think that I'm very blessed to have
You
had
are.
this kind of an entry. Some people get introduced by somebody or the other. Somebody wants to get introduced to a guru. I just went there by chance, and I can never thank my friends enough for that. They are still my friends, and all of us are still continuing with our yoga.
Oh, that's
All of us.
amazing. And
All of
Father
us who
Joe?
started then. Father Joe also, very much in touch with him. And,
Okay.
yes.
Wow.
Though
That's just.
I don't learn from him anymore. He's not
Yes.
where I am, and he's of course traveling a lot. But yes, he's the one who made me teach even before I set off with Guruji, started with Guruji. So he made me a teacher. He put his trust in me,
He was
and
your
that's
first
how
teacher.
he
Mm.
was my first teacher. He asked me to teach. The last thing on my, if you ask my friends, they will tell you when I was at school, the last thing I wanted to be was a teacher. I said, I'll do anything but not teach. Teaching, not for me.
What?
That's how it
Yeah.
was.
So the opposite thing happened. So,
Yes,
so
opposite.
Firooza, the other thing I wanted to ask you is this year of 2020, how do you feel that it has shaped your practice and your teachings, and even vice versa? How for you has your yoga, how has it helped you to handle 2020, and vice versa, how has it affected your yoga?
You want me to be very honest,
Yes,
obviously.
please. And you are. Yes, you love
Yes,
it.
yes.
You're loving it, aren't you? Because you're inside and doing lots of practice.
I can't be anything but honest. It doesn't go with my nature, so I can't help it. Well, so actually, when this happened, Michelle, I was quite happy. I just loved the break it gave me.
Mm,
Change in routine. And not
mm,
that I didn't like teaching, but I think I rarely take holidays except when I travel.
mm,
And then also I travel to teach.
mm.
So I loved that break. I said, oh, I have to get up in the morning and not teach, and then I had all the time for my own practice,
Yes.
which was like a windfall for me, seriously. So
Mm,
the first couple of months, I loved it because, I would have all my time in the morning for my practice. Later
mm.
on, of course, things started rolling in the house, domestic work and things like
Yes.
that. But mornings was always my practice time, my teaching time. So that time was entirely mine. So I loved it, seriously. And then I said, this is nice. I mean, this is like, I know that people are suffering, but this is a blessing from above for me. And so I also had time to read, I had time to do some writing, some thinking work. And then circumstances led me to start recording some sessions because some people wanted some help. So I said, okay, I will record a shavasana for you so that you can relax. Then I started when I recorded a few simple pranayam sessions, like half an hour, get up in the morning before the birds woke up because they make a lot of noise, the crows. So I would get up at 5 in the morning to record some sessions in the quiet of the morning. I actually like that. That also added to my own practice in a way, my own
Different
mental states.
dimension. Yes.
Yes.
Mm, mm.
So I did all of that. And then Prashantji started teaching online. So I
Yes.
said, that's like cherry on the cake. Now I have So first of all, they of course set out his recorded sessions. So the days I did his sessions, I didn't do my own practice, but I could practice as per his teaching. That was wonderful. I mean, yeah, I had tried his recordings a little few times earlier, Geeta ji, Prashant ji, but I've never had the time to really put on a recording and practice. Well, this was great, so I could do that. And then he started teaching online, so I had Prashant ji in the house. Now, how cool is that?
I know.
So
Can't get
I
much
was
better.
just, yeah. So actually, well, it's not nice of me to say this, but I kind of liked that the lockdown should continue for a little while for my own selfish reasons, for no other reason but my own selfish reasons. But I know that a lot of people were in trouble, there are a lot of people homeless, a lot of people hungry, a lot of people jobless. I understand all of that. So I did spend some time trying to, help out in whichever way I could. So it enhanced my practice in many different ways. Time to read, write, edit with Prashantji, practice on my own, practice on Zoom. And then, of course, I started teaching. And then if I'm cooking in the kitchen or if I'm cleaning, then I have these on and I listen to lessons on YouTube by Prashantji, Guruji, and other music which I like, Indian music, which is so close to yoga. And my yoga continues there even when I'm doing other jobs. So when I'm off the mat also, I'm in yoga in that sense. I'm very much in bliss in my own space. So I may not be able to spend as much time on the mat, but I compensate for it in other ways.
So. Well, that's how we see you anyway, Firooza. You are the epitome of a yogini for me, especially, and I'm sure many people. That's how I see you.
You are
You
being
are
very kind, Michelle.
No, I'm not being kind. It's what you radiate, and I'm so grateful that you've spoken to us, and we're going to share this widely because I think many people will be very fascinated to hear about all of the history and how you feel about 2020, and we can't wait for you to come and teach.
I have many more stories to tell you another time.
Oh, we can keep going. Maybe we'll set it up another time.
When she's
when you come,
can we have a conversation?
There's so many questions I could listen to for hours, and I know Carla could, and many people. So when you've got time, we would love to hear more.
Yeah, we will, because Guruji was such a fascinating individual, that there are so many memories with him, which are so precious. Some of them so much fun, with so much humor, and some of them so wealthy in learning and so serious as well. So yeah, we'll share another time when we meet for sure. And I'm looking forward to being with you guys next month.
Not too far away. Not too far away.
Yes.
Thank you.